Welcome.
Welcome back.
You want to sing your song again?
No, I'm not going to sing the song today because I don't want to be accused of being churchy.
I mean, whether it be an accusation from me or someone else, you are churchy.
Hey, I don't know what to tell you.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Heath Bernie Show. Thank you all for watching the inaugural episode. I don't know if inaugural is the right word, but the
That
initial
sounds
episode.
real fancy. Inaugural.
Inaugural is like, you have your inaugural ball, like the president gets elected, so forth.
I know.
So, but thank you for tuning in to the first episode. And if you did not see any of our videos before, then welcome to the Heath and Bernie Show. I'm Heath.
I'm Bernie.
And we are a married couple. We've been doing relationship consult. We've been married couple for 25 years.
I was going to say, how many years have we been married, Heath?
Yes, 25 years.
Going on 26 this year. You hate when I do that.
Yeah, we don't do that.
I know. I forgot. I got excited. Sorry.
25 years. We've been doing relationship consulting for 26 years. And so 23 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 23 years. You got me saying 26.
I know,
that's
because
why you don't do that.
I know. But it's like the same. I feel the same way about the years of our marriage. It's the same way about our savings. When I be like, I can't wait to get to this number. I can't wait to get to there. When we finally get to a certain number, I'll be like, I can't wait to get to 30. Oh, I can't wait.
Here's the thing with Bernie. When she hits a goal, she's like, ooh, this is great. Now I can't wait to get to the next one.
Yeah.
It's like, can't we just celebrate and be happy that we're at this one? So we are happy that we
That's how I am with numbers. But you're like that in doing things.
What do you mean?
Because tasks and things that we set out to do, when we finally do one thing, then we'll be on to the next, next activity.
I'm not on to the next activity. I'm on to the
next
to do
goal.
The thing while we're to do the thing that we did the thing for. Like when we bought our house, and we bought our house, the previous normal school.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we bought it so we can start the business.
Right.
Now let's start the business.
Right, but that's what I mean. I just need breathers every now and then.
Right. And I realized that, okay, even though we bought the house to start a business, now she wants to just rest and
chill out for a second. Just a second.
Before we start the business.
Can I just one time?
Yeah, so, and we're actually going to talk about that in one of the segments.
We are? Okay.
Yeah. But if you have not been here before or have not seen any of our videos, we do relationship consulting, and we have transitioned from like meeting with clients permanently and doing things out in the woods with our boot camp that we created an obstacle course to do. And we transitioned to like a podcast format. So
we still meet with clients though.
Yeah, we still meet with clients, but we do this in addition to it.
Exactly.
And so we know that most couples are focused on bills, businesses, babies, and the Bible, and they forget about having fun. And so we are trying to reprioritize fun back in relationships. And
Yay, fun.
We'll do activities and stuff that if you looked at our videos before, you saw that we took a cruise, and we had a fun time on that.
Yep.
And that's when we actually introduced that we were going to be doing the Heath and Bernie Show. Mm-hmm. And so now we're doing it. Anything you want to say, Bernie?
Nope. I have nothing to say right now.
Okay, let's get into the first topic, which is relationships in the news.
In the news. Who we got this time?
The first topic we have is Tiger Woo.
Tiger Woo. I like him.
Oh,
Mr. Tiger Woods.
Mr. Tiger.
So Mr. Tiger Woods. So relationships in the news is when we just look through the news to see what's happening in the landscape of relationships. Since we are relationship consultants, we want to talk about what's going on in the news regarding relationships. There are a whole bunch of other topics you can go to other people to talk to find out about. But if you want to come to find out about relationships and what's going on in the news, then that's where we provide our keen insight and interest to what it is that they're doing. And so we have Tiger Woods. So I was scouring the wires and saw that Tiger Woods' girlfriend of, I think, 5, 6 years.
Yeah. Oh.
He is.
I don't want to keep saying yeah.
It's okay if you say yeah.
It's very irritating when I listen back. I do not want to keep saying yeah.
Okay. It's who you are.
It's irritating.
It's who you are.
I'm not doing it.
Okay. Tiger Woo.
Taco Woo.
In the news, his girlfriend of 6 years, he was like, you know what? I don't feel like being in a relationship with her no more. So he was like, you know what, babe girl, why don't you go ahead and go on a vacation by yourself? It's okay. You know, I'll meet you there. I'll come later. So he or either someone, he had someone drive her to the airport, pack her stuff, go to the airport. But what happened was he was like, oh yeah, by the way, you're really not going on a vacation. Tiger Woods wants to break up with you. And he's kicking you out of the house that you've been living in for the last 5-6 years. And not only is he kicking you out the house, you can't go back in. And that was his way of getting you out the house. And she was like, oh, I am just flabbergasted. I am just torn apart because Tiger Woo done kicked me out the house. And I got about $40,000 cash back in the house I need to get. So she took it upon herself.
Where did they do that at?
I don't know. Who got $40,000 just laying around the house?
Okay.
So she was like, I'm going to sue Tiger Woods for $30 million because I had a verbal agreement to live in that house with Tiger Woods for the remainder of the 5 additional years. And because I've been kicked out of the house, did I say 30,000 or 30? It's 30 million.
What?
How much he's suing him for?
Oh, I don't think you said amount. I don't remember amount.
Oh, I'm going to sue Tiger for $30 million. And I'm suing him because for the 5 years that I should have been in the house, based upon our verbal agreement, this is the reasonable rent that someone would pay for the staying of 5 years that I wasn't paying because I was staying free.
Oh my gosh.
But if someone was paying rent in this type of house, they would pay a certain amount of money per month.
The goal.
And times 5, $30 million is what I am not being given. So I deserve $30 million because I'm not staying in the house. And the NDA that Tiger Woods had me sign, I am going to protest it because I don't want that to apply anymore. I want to go to federal court and say, hey, that NDA that I signed 6 years ago, that shouldn't apply. And they're like, why not? Because the NDA doesn't apply when there is sexual assault or harassment. Are you alleging sexual assault or harassment? I'm not saying. I'm just saying it shouldn't apply because it doesn't apply during sexual assault or harassment. She didn't sue him for sexual assault or harassment. She's suing that she can get out of her NDA because of sexual assault or harassment. And so, Tiger Woods is smart though.
I mean,
well, let me
so
get your
many
thoughts
red
about
flags.
that.
Wait,
hold on. Let me finish. So Tiger Woods is smart in that he does not own the house that they live in, or he lives in now, that she used to live in. The Tiger Woods Trust owns the house. And so there is an executor, a fiduciary person overseeing the trust. And because of that, she has to sue the trust and not Tiger Woods. And the trust said, what verbal agreement? We didn't make a verbal agreement with you. Maybe Tiger did, but we didn't, and we own the house. And she's like, but Tiger said it. And Tiger's like, I didn't say anything. You were just staying in the house as my girlfriend, free of charge. You're not paying any rent. So therefore, we owe you nothing.
I mean, so many things. First of all, I low-key got issues with Tiger, not because of this issue. I felt some kind of way about him back when he was saying he wasn't black. Mm-hmm. I ain't never felt straight about him about that. But then, when he won that Masters, and then they was like, oh, what we gonna have for dinner? Chicken and watermelon thrown out of him and cornbread. Oh, what are you, Tiger?
You're black now. Negro.
So, society reminded him. Yeah. You are black. But anyway, in this situation, I guess he was smart. But at the same time, Tiger got so many issues. You remember all the women that came out when he messed on his wife or whatever? And then he created this NDA. Why? Because
he was like, what you're not going to do is come out there and write a book about being with me and all the things that we done did.
Tiger deals with messy people. Why'd you need an NDA? Look who you dealing with. Why are you dealing with these people? Whatever. That's the type of people he dealing with. So I don't know. I mean, it is smart that he put it in a trust or whatever. Yeah. And I mean, why did he have to like pretend and drop her off? How come that wasn't a conversation?
You want to get her out of the house.
Why? See, that's what I mean.
I don't want no argument. I don't want to have a bunch of drama. Go ahead and just go to a trip and, I'll meet you there.
What kind of woman are you dating that you got to do that instead of have a conversation about, I'm not feeling this relationship no more.
Because you Tiger Woods and she gonna want that money.
I know, but you dealing with messy people.
That's true.
I mean, what are you doing?
And so here's another reason why I don't believe that people should live together before they get married. I know that's a controversial topic.
You just cursed for a lot of folks out there.
So let me say it again. This is another reason why people I don't think should live together before they get married.
Why?
There are biblical reasons why I don't believe that it should happen.
Yes.
That you shun the appearance of evil, or that don't awaken your love before it's time. But people's love be woke.
Even without living together.
Right.
We know about that.
And then there's the fornication issue, the non-sex before before you get married. So there are those biblical reasons why I never did it. But I don't put my biblical beliefs on other people. And so some people just do live together. Some Christians do live together before they get married.
These days, they're saying it's more economical.
Yeah.
Because, that was before inflation, they were saying that. So.
But here's the reason why I don't think people should live together is because when you have a relationship where you live together in the same house, there are certain things that happen.
Sorry.
Okay, stop.
Okay, I know I'm in the table
either.
I know.
There's certain things that happen within a relationship dynamic where certain things that come up where you are forced to deal with your own issues and own proclivities and your own things that irritate the other person and irritate the relationship that are not good or make for a good relationship. There are also things that come up that cause a lot of stress and chaos. And there's a learning curve that you have to do with someone that is, why are you looking at me like that?
What are you talking about?
Your eyes were like, stop it.
Whatever, go.
There's a learning curve that you have to deal with and go over so that that you can assimilate your lives together. But when you don't have the commitment to validate the work that needs to go into that, and you only have I'm here until I don't want you to be here no more, or I'm here until I don't want to be here anymore, then you run the risk of having what happened to her. I think her name is I forget it. I can't remember her name.
Is that important?
Erica.
Oh.
Yeah, Erica.
She looked like an Erica too.
Really? What
when I saw a picture,
like?
Her.
Well, you run the risk of having this thing happen to you, where you get kicked out the house after you've been living there for 5 years, and thinking that you're supposed to be there another 5, another 6. Well, you've been there 6 years. Supposed to think you live. Okay, let me calm down.
Yeah.
You think you're supposed to live there for another 5. But then you get kicked out with nothing.
Let me say something about living somewhere for 5 years. In your mind, that's your darn house.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 years, that's your house.
And I don't know if there's some common law situations that applies.
I don't think that was long enough for common law, but
yeah.
Why would you? But she's stupid for even doing that, because that's a long time. You think you lived there. You actually probably think that's your house. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He messy and she crazy for just doing that for 5 years.
So if you, my opinion on this matter, if you are thinking about living with your girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, at least own the house together. At least get the house in both y'all's names. Or if you're moving in with someone. What?
Who just bought?
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, but if you're moving in with someone and they own the house already, then you just run the risk of getting put out with nothing to your name. Hopefully, the love that y'all have will validate and secure it. But That's just a risk you run when you are out there in the streets and you outside in someone's house and you're just a guest
God knows best.
without that status to protect yourself.
That's why he say don't do it.
Yes. Okay, next topic in the news. Here's another situation. Good gracious. Whew. So Miss Deborah Lee. Deborah Lee was the CEO of BET.
Yep.
After Bob Johnson, who was the CEO of BET. But she just put out a book and is promoting it. And she was on the Good Morning America show. Yeah, Good Morning America. And she talked about how...
Yeah, with Robin interviewed her.
Yeah, Robin interviewed. She talked about how when she was working with BET for 10 years, 10 years into her time there, she and Bob, good old Bob, they started a romantic relationship. Now, they both were married. And she was like, yeah, we was both married. And we both started, it turned romantic. And, we both got a divorce. So...
Because of that, right? I mean, did they find out?
She didn't say because of that, but... You cheat on your husband. He cheated on his wife.
They knew.
Y'all both got divorced, and now y'all dating each other. It's almost like the Amy Robach and TJ Holmes type situation.
ABC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it ABC?
Yeah. That were on that news channel in the morning.
What they be doing at ABC? Them?
Why is this ABC? No, you said this BET.
Yeah, but ABC. What they be doing on the networks? Well, I guess it's office workplace stuff is.
We met at work.
I know, but we weren't married.
I was just gonna say we was not tied to nobody.
No. And so they were, so they started a relationship. They both got divorced and they both were dating each other. Mind you, that was Robert Johnson. Yeah, Bob Johnson. That was her boss, her immediate boss.
Big mistake.
Yeah. So,
but you can't do that in the government, federal government. You can't
no, you can't. You shouldn't do that.
Be the subordinate.
You probably can't do that.
What are the rules?
In the when you're the CEO of the company, that don't apply to you.
Oh, you're just doing what the heck you want to do.
Yeah, that don't apply to you. So you get out there, and so 10 years into y'all's relationship, she was like, I don't think this is going to be a long-term situation that I want to be in, but I want to get out. So she was like, hey, Bob, it's been fun, enjoyed it, but I think it's time for me to dip. And he was like, nah. I mean, if you want to leave, then you can go ahead and leave. And if you leave, then you must leave everything because you got to go.
No, he was saying she wanted to leave the relationship, not her job.
No, that's what I'm talking about. She wanted to get out the relationship.
Oh, I thought you said the job. She wanted to leave the relationship.
Did I say job? Okay.
I don't know.
She wanted to leave the relationship, but then he was like, no, if you want to leave me, you got to leave me and the company and you're going to lose your
He's
job.
Such a weak man.
And so she was like, but Dag, I'm going to leave. Like, I've been here 10 years. I've been here 20 years now. It's 20 years. And I will have no job. And mind you, she left her husband or they divorced. I don't know what the conditions were, but now she's a single mom of 2 and she got to deal with like finding a new job and getting out there. And then you don't know what kind
all over and she's been building this career. But see, that's why you don't date your boss. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so she ended up staying in the relationship. And she was like, this whole Me Too thing got her rethinking, like maybe her, and I think there's another movement called Time's Up. I had never heard about that one.
What's that Me Too?
She was like, that's what she was like. Well, she's like, I don't know if this was a like, if it was really consensual. Now that I was like, oh, so you're going retroactively.
Wait a minute.
Like, you know what? Was this consensual? Because I don't know.
That's what she's saying. Said. It might have been Me Too.
She said because of Me Too that I don't know. Was this consensual? I don't know.
I don't know.
What do you think? Was it consensual?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on them conversations at the beginning back when she was married. I mean, it's hard for me to relate to this because what was she thinking? You're married, both of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So she ended up staying in a relationship. Then Bob Johnson retired and moved on or left the company, and they promoted her to CEO.
Right. And
she was CEO for 13 years. So she was able to keep her position and got promotion.
But look at the cost.
Yeah.
Look at the cost of all just for that. And she talked about the reason why she stayed in it when he's like, no, if you're going to leave me, then you're going to leave your job and everything. And she talked about all what she had built.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to like lose all what she had built. But she should have thought about that when she started dipping in them negative, dirty waters.
Yeah. And my thing is when you out now, I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to make it seem like as a man, I'm bashing her for having an affair, and all that stuff at work. She wrong. She definitely wrong. But my point is when you dip outside of that and I don't want to make it seem like he was not wrong.
Both of them was wrong.
Was dead wrong.
Both of them.
Let me be clear.
I'm
They
sure
both was
they
dead
both
wrong.
had huge consequences based for both of them doing whatever they did. Like she suffered, and I'm sure it's because they both families suffered. I'm sure.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
The retribution of their family took a toll. But I'm saying that once you step out there and you know I'm cheating on my husband, you cheat on your wife, we gonna have a relationship together. You out there in them dirty waters, and so whatever you get in them dirty waters, whatever you get in the swamp. If you get bit by a snake in the swamp, what you doing in the swamp?
That's what's in the swamp.
That's what's in the swamp. That's exactly
That's
it.
what's in the swamp.
That's exactly it. That's what's in the swamp. So I don't feel a certain type of way about her having to go through that because that's what you get when you out there like that.
So when she was saying,
or Bob, I don't know what he had to do, what negative repercussions he had, but that's what you get when you out there like that.
So when she was saying it might have been me too, was she saying like when the first interaction came to her, she felt like might have been a power over her to like go into this relationship?
Well, I think because she's talking about how from a Me Too standpoint, it's like the power dynamics like a Harvey Weinstein, who had power to determine what it is she was going to do or not do in her career at her job.
But that's exactly what happened.
She felt that she had to, capitulate to whatever he said.
That's exactly what happened after she got in there. I wonder, had she never had the affair, would he been still trying to like manipulate her?
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe,
but, they was both in them sheets.
Yeah. Some men with power can't handle it.
Yeah. And I feel like the reason why she said she wrote her book was that because she feels like people can learn from her mistakes and her life stories, which I think it was very transparent that she put it out there. She said it was known, their relationship was known, it wasn't no mystery. They would go out together after they were together. It was no.
Oh, after they was divorced and left their husbands and wives.
I don't know how. I guess after the fact it was.
I'm sure people at work knew.
Oh yeah, but my thing is like when God sees the journey that you're going to take, he can use your mess as a blessing, and he can allow you to go through some things and you experience some things that you help other people. So hopefully her story can help other people learn what it is that you should not do. If that's something that people feel convicted about. Some people just don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
Nope, I have nothing else to say about that.
Okay. So, what do we got next? Okay, so reaction to videos.
Oh, reaction video time.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get my headphones. Oops.
So the first one we have is the Basement Podcast with Tim Ross. This was a good.
I like you for you to tell me you like me. I just need you to know how I feel about you. And I don't know if you're dating someone or if you have a boyfriend, but if you are, you need to know that I'm gonna be pissed off and we're not gonna be friends. Point blank, period. He said, so you don't have to tell me you like me back, but I do need you to know where I stand with you. And if this ruins our friendship, I completely understand. But if you're dating another person, I don't want to be your friend because I want to be more than friends with you. So, and she listened. She was like, thank you so much for telling me. And this won't ruin our friendship. That's all she said. So it wasn't a red light and it wasn't a green light. It was a yellow light. So I proceeded with caution. Nice. Yeah, we'll be married 24 years this year. We'll be married 24 years this year. My parents will be married 49 years this year. So if God keeps us all alive and healthy, next year is our 25th. Next year is their 50th.
Did you stop that?
No, it stopped on its own.
Oh.
Yeah, he was saying next year is their 50th and they're going to do a vow renewal.
Together? Both of them?
Their 25th and his parents' 50th.
That's cool.
Why did you said that to me, Bernie?
I did
Why
send
did
that to you because I said that to you because that reminded me so much of you, because I felt like that's what you did to me when you had this plan about getting married. I don't know. We've told this story so many times, and it's in his book, His Leadership, Her Trust.
Good plug, Bernie.
Yeah, thank you. But I felt like that's what you did to me with your plan that you had, and because we were just friends,
Co-workers.
Co-workers.
Yeah.
And when he made this decision, he came to me as a friend and basically saying that those same type of things. But you were actually saying,
I was saying I was wanting to pursue a relationship with you that led towards marriage. I think that's how I said it.
basically. And then, but you said you wasn't asking me to marry me right now.
Yeah, I knew you couldn't take me asking you to marry me at dinner when we were just co-workers and friends.
Right. But he said, I'm not asking you to marry me right now, but in October, because this was September, he said in October, I'm going to start my wooing process.
Yeah.
What's going on right now?
The wooing process.
Yeah. So that's why I sent that, because when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what Heath did, basically, kind of,
Yeah, when I
in
saw
a different
that,
way.
When I saw that, I was thinking about, with respect to my story, the intentionality that I had of what I wanted in my life in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that don't know the story, it's too long to go into right now. But essentially, I had a plan.
We need to do a podcast just about that story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
people will
we'll
know,
share the story.
other people who don't know.
Yeah. But I had a plan. I wanted to be married by the time I was 27. And I was 24 when I was thinking about this. And what I did is I came up with a list of criteria, and anybody who met that criteria made the list. Anybody that did not meet that criteria, they did not make the list. Well, Bernie made the list.
First of all, I wasn't a part of the list or any of it in the first place.
Well, nobody was a part of the list. You had to meet the criteria in order to be on the list.
But even when you made the list, because you told me I wasn't part of that list.
True.
Because we was just real good friends, but I was not a part of that list.
True.
Yeah.
So the list was something that I created, and I, depending upon who you were, you met it or you did not meet it. Well, once I realized that Bernie was the one, I was like, okay, now I got to convince you to marry me, because we were just co-workers and friends.
Just friends, platonic. We did not like each other like that
No.
at all. We had mutual friends, so I heard a lot about him before we actually met. When he, because I worked a lot with a lot of his friends worked where I worked, and then he started working there. So when he came up on the scene, I was like, "Oh, you're Heath," but I had a whole lot of like negative stuff in my mind. My gosh, I had a whole lot of like bad things that I heard. So I didn't really like him, especially not like that. So,
Yeah.
but we became good friends, but it was always platonic.
Yeah, and from that we had to transition. Well, once I told her, I'm interested in pursuing a relationship with you that leads towards marriage, and she was like, "What? Huh? What? Are you serious?" So, because she knew about the plan.
Yeah,
she knew about the plan. Everybody knew about the plan. There was no
At
mystery
work.
about the plan.
We
but
all
no one knew
about
who was on the list.
We laughed at him because he didn't have a girlfriend or nothing. He talking about, I'm getting married next year. And we kept asking, hey, Heath, how your plan going? We would all ask him every now and then.
It's going fine. It's going fine.
Because he told everybody about this plan at work.
So I had to figure out how I was going to convince her to marry me, because I knew I wanted to be married in October of 97. And I knew I needed to pick the person I wanted to marry in September of 97. So I would have a month to convince that person to marry me. So my wooing process was going to be how I was going to convince that person to marry me. And so it took about a week for us to have a discussion about all the things that we had never talked about before in our...
We talked on the phone every day for about a week and was talking about everything that we never talked about, like likes and dislikes, and how many kids do you want? Do you believe in this? Do you believe? I probably was asking a whole bunch of God questions.
Yeah, she didn't think I was saved.
Yeah, I did not think he was saved. He was going to Freaknik.
I mean, yeah, I was, but
when we were friends, he did
saved.
so many things that in my growing up, you didn't get it. You never got it.
That's because
and the things that he was doing, you never got it. Okay, you just didn't get you not saved, and you
what
need to
she
go
talked
back up
about
to
is
the
she
altar.
didn't get the Holy Spirit because you had to tarry. You had to tarry at the altar
All
for the
of
Holy
it.
Spirit in
All
order for
of
the
it.
Holy Spirit to come, and then I obviously did not get it.
The old folks back in my day would say, that child didn't get it. And they just mean, they don't mean the Holy Spirit. They mean all of it. You're not saved. You don't meet any of the criteria because
Right.
your actions are doing complete opposite what you should be doing.
Right. Well,
But anyway.
I mean, but you saw me mature over the years from what I used to do in my early 20s, that's like 24, 25, to what I then began to push away from and start to the man I started to become.
Well, the thing in all of that is that because of who you are and like your upbringing, because you got saved when you was like 19 or whatever.
Right.
And you operated, this is really interesting because I grew up in the church, born in it. I had no choice. Was my life, whatever. So that's all I knew. But the thing is, when you came along, you understood grace.
Yeah.
I understood condemnation.
Right.
And that's where I lived, okay?
I needed grace because of the things I was doing.
And grace did not live nowhere near me. It's like you going to hell. You better get on that altar on it every Sunday, trying to be Jesus. What? Anytime you do something wrong,
low key kind of do that.
I be struggling, but see, he helps me with that.
She still low key be like, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus.
Don't let me get a pain. I'll touch it in a minute and be trying to heal it. Name it pain right here, blood of Jesus, blood. What? It goes away after a while.
I mean, I can't front. She be blood of Jesus and it away.
If he get a pain, I'm gonna touch it and go away. Anyway, but you kind of helped me with that because you understood like grace and stuff, and I ain't really come up under grace, even though it was there for me. We ain't get it like that, so
yeah,
it mellows me out, and it helped.
And I think that was a balance that we've had that we didn't know how beneficial it would be, and how much conflict it would create too.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, this is good. I think what we realized was that, with respect to the conflict, she was trying to hold expectations of salvation that she should not have been trying to hold, like, she's trying to be Jesus, basically. I'm not saying she shouldn't try to be like Jesus. You should try to be like Jesus, but she was trying to be Jesus.
I thought something was literally wrong with me because I could not sin, not knowing that we sin every day. What?
Right. And so
but I wasn't like, taught that way. It was like,
you're fine. I mean,
I wasn't taught like that.
You're fine in terms of like the pursuit that you have and the thing and your humbleness and the grace that you have. You're fine. You're doing good. I was like, as long as you ask for forgiveness, then you're good, because that's what the Bible says.
And when you keep asking for forgiveness, you ain't saved. You ain't get it. You ain't get it.
So that was conflict in the beginning of our marriage because she was trying to live holy, and I was trying to have fun and do other things. And she was like,
too free.
No.
He was so free. It was like, oh my gosh. But you know what helped me? You would tell me things. And then when I be watching T.D. Jakes or Joyce Myers,
talk about it.
They would come back and say, because I really, I would listen to him, but not really. I'd be like, he don't know anything when he would say something, because I didn't think he would say, he would tell me something. And I'd be like, okay, he ain't got it. Wait, Lord, he'll be all right.
Well, why'd you marry a heathen? Why'd you marry a heathen?
Because you wasn't a heathen. You was a very good person, and just in who you are. But you just had some corners. I was like, wait, but because you knew Jesus, but it was like, wait a minute. But then when I would be watching T.D. Jakes and Joyce Myers and different people I would watch, Jackie McCullough, they would come around and say the same thing he told me. And I was like, wait, what a minute, what? Wait a minute. So then that's what helped me like calm down from trying to be Jesus all the time, because
I don't think you didn't start trusting me until like maybe year 3.
Yeah, I had a whole lot of trust issues, because not just in that area, but
so that was 3 years into our marriage that she was just like, let me see.
I had trust issues.
Let me see.
But it just wasn't in that area. It was in all the areas because of my background, because people I might have, I don't want to say dated, but talked to, because usually if I was talking to you, when you like me, I like you, and then we was just together. That's how it worked back then. but people I talked to like lied unnecessarily. I mean, to this day, I'm not sure the person's name is what they said it was. That's how bad. So I had just a whole bad like did not trust a whole lot of things until he just had to prove me wrong, because he would say things and I would just be like, okay, let me just, and at first I used to say, you're not, and like negate it, and then he told me how that made him feel.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to do that.
She would I would say stuff, and then she would just flippantly dismiss it.
Yeah, I would, because I just be talking and just
Like,
flip
they
it.
don't mean that.
Yeah. And that was really just talking. But when I found out how it was affecting him, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Because I would go ahead.
Even though I still felt that way, I shut my mouth and said it inside. And I didn't let him see that.
Because what she was doing was she would say, no, I would say, I love you, or I'd say something that was affectionate and was encouraging or something like that. And she'd be like, whatever. Or like dismiss, like, you don't mean that.
But yeah, I didn't believe
so I was
it.
like, so I done basically chose you out of all the women I could have chose. And I've made you my wife. I asked you to marry me, made you my wife. I'm doing all these things to prove that I love you, and you dismiss them and you don't accept them. You reject them. You're like, whatever. And I was like, okay, so let me show you what it's like for me not to love you and for me not to do the things that I'm doing for you. Let me show you what it's like. And
see,
and
all that little flippy talk, I didn't know I was doing all that. I wasn't trying to do all that. So I shut that down real quick.
Yeah.
Ladies, shut all that mouth down.
Yeah. And because I felt like I was not being, the things that I was putting into the marriage weren't being received.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me stop putting things in. But then I think after you said that you didn't know that's what it did, you changed like immediately.
Yeah, I told you I shut it down, but I still had those feelings and thoughts because it's just a lot you would say. And that's one of the reasons why low key as friends, I walked forward in this, because one of my pet peeves. Peeves. What is it? Peeves
with a V.
One of my biggest frustration and irritations is people following through with their word.
Yeah.
See, that goes along with trust and stuff.
Yeah.
So you as a friend always did that, which that was one of the reasons why I was like, maybe, as friends, we should, do things together, and you always follow through what you said. So
yeah,
that was one of the reasons why I walked forward in this, not knowing. But you basically, in those 3 years, even though I was still feeling that kind of way inside, like not even like you would say, well, even when we was getting married, we're going to go to Europe on our honeymoon. And my mind's like,
Dang.
I was just waiting.
I paid for because Bernie paid for the wedding. I paid for the honeymoon. We did a 3-week tour in Europe.
Yeah, all over the place.
And
that was like, before though. I mean, I'm talking about before we went.
But I did not know, you did not believe that I was not going to come through and buy the tickets and get the hotels and get that car and everything.
You don't understand what I had been dealing with. I mean, people say one thing and do another, which is why it's one of my big pet peeves. So I'm saying after so many years, 3 years, you just constantly following through, following your word. Your word is your bond. You doing what you say. I actually started believing it. And it went away. See, it take a while. The damage that I had brought to the marriage and all that baggage of not trusting people because I had been wronged so bad in the past where people lie for no reason. I mean, unnecessarily, just to get my empathy, some people. But that damage I saw how it could greatly affect us. So I would just keep it in, but then I just wait. And I was always waiting for the to drop for you to say, psych, I'm just kidding. I don't want to marry you. I don't love you. Yeah. We're not going on this honeymoon.
She thought I was going to be like, psych. I'm not coming down the aisle.
But that's why I'm very you say I'm very pessimistic.
You are a pessimistic person.
Yeah, because I'm always like ready. If it's not going to go right, I'm like, see, I knew it, but I try not to be that way since I've been married to you. I try to keep it all in, but it's low-key still there a little bit.
She fails. She fails in keeping it in.
I've come farther than I used to be. Yes.
Okay.
Give me some credit.
If you say so.
Really? Okay. Anyway, but this guy reminded me of you because you had a plan, and here we are today, 25 years.
Exactly. So in terms of making your intentions known and putting effort behind it, I was like, I want to pursue a relationship with you that's leading towards marriage, and that's what I set out to do. And then we had a negotiation of like basically what it is that we would do in the marriage, and then you were like, okay, let's do it.
Right, when we were
pretty
listening.
much, There's a whole story. There's a whole back.
Just tell the little part about you had came over. This is the
Oh my
end of it.
gosh.
And we was listening to a tape.
No, they're gonna have to watch that. We'll do a
Okay.
separate version of that. If you want to
We
see the
basically told
Heath and
most
Bernie
of the
story,
Okay.
about how we met and everything, it's
But let me ask you a question, and not
you
about
have
us.
to watch the episode that we do a story just on that.
Not about our story, but this guy. And you said you were very intentional. Do you think men today are very intentional? Is that a lot that is lacking? Which I kind of think that's a lot what's lacking in today. But what do you think about that?
I think some men, older men, are intentional if they've never been married. Well, let me just put a blanket. It varies. Some older men are intentional if they've never been married. Like after they hit their mid 30s, maybe closer to 40, if they've never been married, they're like, okay, I'm trying to find somebody, but they're not satisfied with who they're finding because the women in their age group have been buked and scorned, like like all the things that they have gone through in order to get to where they are.
Exactly.
And they're like, these men is trash out here. So I'm real. My spider sense is much more acute and not really receptive to the BS. And if they detect any hint or pattern of BS, then they're out. They're like, no, I'd rather be by myself.
Yeah.
And so men are seeing that lack of
trust.
No, not the lack of trust, but the women have no F's to give. They don't really care about how you're trying to develop as a person. They want, like, are you going to show up as a man who's of quality, substance, and character?
Yeah.
Or are you not? Because I don't have, if I detect anything, I'm out. And men are seeing the women who are so flippant about passing on relationships that may have potential, but they're like, I'm not dating potential anymore.
They don't got time.
They don't have time.
Yeah.
So, but the younger people in their, they say 20s, maybe 30, they're like, nah, I'm not really into intentionality. Matter of fact, I'm intentional about not being in a relationship.
Oh, the young men?
Yeah. Some of them. I was reading an article yesterday about about younger men. It was a Pew Research study that was researching that did research, and in that research they found that men who were like 30 were pretty much saying that they don't really want relationships, or like 28, 30 age range. They really don't want relationships right now. They're not. They just want to date. They're just looking for something, and it's part because some of the women that they are looking for, they don't see them out there. I don't know if they have if they're looking for the right things, if they know to look for the right things, or if they're just looking for what they see on Instagram or what they see on TikTok or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But I do know that they are not interested in looking for relationships from a number standpoint. Now, one thing I know about numbers and about research is that research only applies to the people that it applies to. There is another bastion of people that research does not apply to, that they're on the other side of the spectrum. So your whole life may be on the other side of the research numbers. Like if you're the 30% that wants a relationship, then you don't know what I'm talking about, which I understand that dynamic. So I understand that, and I won't put you in that category, but that's what the study that I read was talking about. Okay, let's go to the next topic.
Next.
Because we are running behind. Okay, let's watch it and we'll talk about it.
You said something so powerful yesterday at the Mental Wealth Expo when Maxwell asked you, what's the definition of a man? How do you define a man?
Yeah, you can't define. Once you allow yourself to be defined, you can't be anything and everything you have to be at any given moment. That's the goal of a man. That's comprehensive manhood. And that's the key, man. If you only feel as a man that you're only a protector and provider, how are you going to be there for your family? How can you have a relationship with your wife and you can only manifest 2 attributes? You're extremely limited. A friend of mine compared it to the crayon boxes, the ones of 8 and the ones of 64. As men, we take out 3 crayons out the one of 8 and we say we're going to stay in that area because it feels comfortable, it's safe.
Man.
But the Most High created us to exude all 64 and even more.
I told you men wear a box of crayons. He
Bernie,
just proved it.
I'm gonna let you go first and talk about your Bernie has been talking about whenever she is referring to somebody that doesn't have a backbone, ain't got no spine,
Man,
she'd be like,
a man.
She'd be like, you use a box of crayons. He's just a box of crayons. I'm like, Bernie, what does a box of crayons mean? So tell the people what a box of crayons means.
No, it's just the actual box of crayons. He's describing it like all colors, and men need to have all those colors. But I was looking at a box of crayons as just being a weak person, because it's just you go color. Something play, go color, as opposed to like, what a man should be doing. You need some dirt under your fingernails, working hard. No, you over here coloring. So that's when I would say when a man is weak, I'll be talking about he a box of crayons. But his analogy I like. But when I saw this, I said, I told you men were a box of crayons. But I thought that was interesting how he was saying those two attributes, because most men talk about, to be a man, I need to protect and provide. Yeah. That's all they always say. Yeah. But it's a whole lot more of responsibility. And a lot of that is always lacking, where the woman feels very, she feels like there's a lot lacking, because like he was saying, they're only operating in two of those areas, as opposed to what women are very relational. We operate in a whole bunch of areas. Yeah.
This was triggering to some respect, because a lot of the research that I do in relationship realms, I come across the who I call the Samuelites, Kevin Samuel's sycophants, the people who.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. The people who, the Samuelites who just think he was such a wise man and had them.
People thought he was wise?
What?
I didn't know that.
Oh,
I thought people
yes. No.
Really?
That's why he had so many followers, and that's why people heard about.
People like the drama, the way he be talking to people all negative.
Yes, because men be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Kevin. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes, there's a whole ecosystem of men, and now there's another person who's been arrested for
arrested.
Yeah, he's been arrested. He lived over in Albania, and he's been arrested for trafficking and basically
trafficking women.
Yeah, trafficking women and online streaming, porn streaming stuff like that.
Well, what's that got to do with Kevin?
Because he's the person who took his spot. There was a vacuum. And and
he's the one who took the Kevin Samuel spot.
I won't say took his spot, but he's the one that, now that Kevin Samuel's dead, is like he's the one who is real popular.
You said now that he died? Is that what you?
That he's dead, yeah.
Oh, you said dead. I didn't. I thought you said now what? Since Kevin Samuels did.
No, now that Kevin Samuels is dead, he's the one who's like, men are like hovering around, like, oh yes, he's the man. He's the man. The way he talks to women, so misogynistic and everything. Anyway, that's why it's triggering to me, because it's like there's a whole ecosystem of men that think, I protect, I provide, I bring home the money, and therefore make me a sandwich.
First of all, women got their own money. Okay. Yeah.
Make me a sandwich, get in the kitchen, cook. If I'm providing, then you should do all these other things.
I'm providing. Stop.
And what he talked about is something that I learned, I think, I kind of never really felt the way that those men feel. Mm-hmm. I always kind of felt that you have to be I was always a well-rounded person. Yeah. And so to not be well-rounded, to me, or just be one-dimensional, seemed to be something that I didn't relate to. But what he was talking about, mm-hmm. I really related to, because when I think about, like, I feel like my purpose is associated with helping people become the people who they want to be, the person that they want to be. And so I have to be able to identify with different people in different roles and different things that they do in life. So my natural proclivity and inclination is to identify what someone needs, what someone wants, and try to help them accomplish that. Mm-hmm. And so I have to be different things to different people. And the scripture talks about Paul being all things to all men, so that you can save some or one. So that you need to be well-rounded, and his message really resonated with that.
Yeah, it was good. That's why I said that to you, because especially that box of crayons, that was right up my alley. I'm like,
so let me ask you this: how did you receive from the beginning of our marriage? How was my attempt to be a well-rounded husband? How was my attempt to be a well-rounded husband? I guess I'll ask that.
I think your attempt was good once I believed it. Because I had issues. I had a lot of baggage of stuff, but I think you were very well rounded because I think were constantly doing that scripture that about men learn your wives, be knowledgeable.
1 Peter 3:7.
And
live with your wife according to knowledge or understanding, depending on which version you're looking at.
Right. And I think you have always tried to learn me and do that. And you've always had my best interest at heart. Afterwards, after I saw that, I'm like, oh, he really wants the best for me. He wants me to be my best person, whatever. So I think you've always, because that's just your nature. You don't just do that with me. I share that with a lot of you out there. Because that's just his gift. I know. Yeah. But that's his gift. So that's what you do in general. So yeah, I felt like you were very well-rounded and, tried to be that or do that.
Okay. Good. Thank you. I was trying to be.
You're welcome.
Okay. That was a good point. And so our last one, we'll talk about, this is something that we were going to talk about last week, but you didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I kind of still don't want to, but okay.
We're going to talk about it.
Oh, boy.
Because I think it's important.
I don't like talking about mafia people.
Mafia people?
Isn't his family in them streets like that?
They used to be.
Is that one of the reasons why you and your wife divorced?
It was me.
It was you?
Yeah, I was just young and dumb. Whatever she say, how she feel, but as a man, it's always gonna be. I was a brother, son, a husband, father, CEO, a chairman of company. Pay attention to my career, just protect my freedom, my life, and think of new business ideas. That's 10 things. 11, I gotta learn how to protect it. 12, I gotta know what's going on. I'm like, fuck, it was a lot to handle.
Right.
Something was gonna fall short. And I just got to a point where I was like, I can't handle that shit. It's over. I'm tired of living for everybody else.
Right.
And I got tired of seeing my wife just live with this umbrella over her. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, be free, my nigga. Like, I love you to die. You whatever you go through in life, I'm still gonna help. I'm dear. It's nothing like that's my dog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? One of my best friends. Like, so it gets to a point where you're like, damn, yo, you chew too much. I ain't fail at nothing. It was just a lot. I just wanted to help everybody.
Is that one of the reasons?
So this story, all y'all probably know who Waka Flocka is. For those of you all who do not know who Waka Flocka is, he's a rapper turned businessman. His family is one of the most known families in the rap and drug game.
His mother was a
big time drug dealer, then turned
a producer. Yeah.
Mother was a big time drug dealer, turned producer. His uncle was a big time drug dealer, turned producer, produced DMX and everything. And so he got into the rap business, and then he did a whole bunch of stuff. And so all the things that he was talking about, he had to do was related to the rap industry. And so that's kind of his background. But when I saw this, I was like, it made me think of, he gave up his marriage for his business, for his career, for his hustle. And he married a woman who was, I don't know their story. Weren't they on some show or something?
Love and Hip Hop. That's how I think I saw him a long time ago when I did watch that for a short stint.
Yeah.
Long time
I can't
ago.
watch it.
Yeah, I don't watch that one anymore. But a long time ago, that's how I know who he is and her. And I think they have a daughter or whatever. And the mother was on there. And I think he had a brother that got killed in that industry that they were, back and forth in.
But to give up I just feel some type of way about dudes who pursue so hard their careers that they forsake not only their wives, but sometimes their family, but outstay specific to this situation. When you give up when you give up your wife, you sacrifice your wife. You like, out of all the 12 things he was listing,
that's the thing that had to go.
He was like, I just gotta get rid of the wife. It's like, come on, bro. Why you gotta do that?
But did he say he said, I just gave it all away. Did he walk away from all of it? Even her? He threw everything in the trash?
No, he just, from what he said, he was like, you under too much of an umbrella. It's like all this stuff that I'm doing, I got going on. You know, you're
Be
the
free.
weight of all that I'm doing is stressing you out. It's too much pressure.
I think it's sad.
Go ahead and just go. Leave me and just go ahead and and live your life. It's much better if you just be out there instead of assessing the things that you're doing, cutting some of that stuff down, and prioritizing your family.
I think it's sad
including
that
your wife.
that's what had to go. But
Yeah.
they have been through a whole lot of things, I'm sure. But I don't understand why that wasn't priority and the most important thing. His daughter and wife.
I think for him, I think he thinks his daughter was important. So that's why he's like, I didn't forsake my family. That's why I'm not going to say he forsook his family, but he definitely forsook his wife because of, from what he said, I don't know that backstory or any details like that, but from what he said, all those things were weighing you down. And the thing that alleviated you was you getting rid of your wife. That to me is I think shameful.
Did he, I don't know, if she got tired and was like, oh, I'm done. And then he was like, yeah, be free, go. Because she might have sound like she should have been tired by now. Because it sound like they've been
sound like you would have been tired by now.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for when I was thinking about how and this actually relates to the first story that we talked about, well, the second story we talked about with Robert Johnson and Deborah Lee.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a budding business and career and it's like you feel like this is your purpose, your passion or whatever, and you feel like this is something that you want to do, and I'll talk about how we pursued the boot camp in a second, but you feel like this is something that you want to do, I feel that it's important for you. You can push each other, and you can as a man, you can set the pace. You can set the pace for how you all want to move, but you should not outpace your marriage, even if it causes you to have to slow down and be considerate of your spouse. Even if you feel like this is what I'm supposed to do, this is where I got to go hard. I got the money. I got to get that money. The time is now. I got to pursue. And, I'm young. You got bills to pay. I think to me, it's better. And you are a happier person and your marriage is more sustainable if you don't outpace your marriage by like slowing down and going at a pace that's good for your marriage, for y'all to move together. Mm-hmm. But you can push, you can like, you don't want to be dragged down, but there is a pace, a point where you should not be outpacing your marriage. And for us, I think when we were doing the boot camp, when we started our business in 2000, I wanted to go at a certain pace. I wanted to do this. I wanted to meet with clients. I wanted to hustle and do all these things. Mm-mm. And you were like shaking your head like that.
I need to mull over all what you're saying right now.
Because I make decisions much quicker than you.
Yes, I need to find out what the decision is, and then I need to think about it and mull over it for a good while.
And so I think finding the balance for us was, okay, how long do I let you mull over it? Yeah. And how fast, how slow do I need to go to allow you to mull?
Right.
And so go ahead.
So, the good thing for me is that, one of the things because I know that I need to do that and I need to mull over things, and because I know you move much faster, what I started doing was, even though I was mulling, I changed my mulling to something that is not what my normal mull would be, because I didn't want to keep dragging the decision on, because I knew that wouldn't be fair to him for me to do my normal mulling process.
And her normal mulling process can cause there's no decision made.
It's more comfortable.
Yeah.
But
I'll say to your, I guess, defense, not that I'm trying to defend you or you need a defense, the things that I was doing were things that I felt were a part of who we were and the things that we were supposed to be doing, like that God really put on my heart as a man, as a head of the family, for us to do. And so I had to not only communicate that to you, but persuade you that, okay, this is what we should be doing. And actually, you were on board with doing it, but it was like, okay, now let's move
time frame. That was that thing I was talking about earlier when I was like, we did one thing. Can we sit down and chill and just for a minute, one time, can I just sit down and chill out just for a minute? That's all. So that was why I was talking about mulling.
And I was like, okay, Now let's move
Right,
quickly because
right.
we got to go get this money. We the opportunity. God told us this is what we should do, so let's move quick now. Go, come on.
He also said rest on the Sabbath.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
Oh my Lord.
but what you start doing helps because now you start telling me things like years in advance, months in advance, as opposed to like, a few days, weeks,
Right.
month, whatever. So that helps me. You throw little seeds out there like, we might be moving in 5 years. This is like back at Guinevere at the other house, third, I don't know how many houses ago.
Second house.
Second house. Yeah. So you said we probably gonna move in 5 years. I was not trying to move no time soon, no time 5 years ever. I mean, I could have stayed
And
there forever in Guinevere. I love Guinevere.
I said that because, and I didn't know that we were going to move. I just knew this wasn't going to be the last house we lived in.
And I was good.
And I was like, yeah, we're going to be moving. And you were like, how long?
What?
Maybe 5 to 7 years.
Well, I
don't
was
know.
like, what about moving? Because
Yeah.
we just came from a 2-bedroom house because this is when I moved into Heath's house when we got married. He had a
Mhm.
2-bedroom house. And now we're in a 2-car garage, 4-bedroom house. Why are we moving?
Yeah.
In a nice neighborhood. This is perfect.
Because I knew what we needed to do, and this house wasn't going to allow us to do it.
And it had the back stairs, so when people came and I wasn't appropriate in the kitchen, I could
Seriously,
run. I love
those
that about that
back
house.
stairs.
I might not have been dressed appropriately, so when people came to the door, whatever, and came over, I could run from the kitchen and up the back stairs into my room and get appropriate. At the last house, normal school, I couldn't do that. I mean,
You could do it.
I could do it, but the back stairs went across the front to the front stairs, so you would see me go by in all of my glory.
No, first of all, you ain't downstairs with all your glory.
You know what I mean? Not all my glory, but some things.
Well, I mean, some of your glory.
Some of the glory may not be tatted down, and they need to be tatted down.
Yeah.
They
Because you
might-
thick filet.
What? For real, they need to be locked and loaded.
Check out her t-shirt. Thick filet.
Yeah.
Non-sponsored. But yeah, so I think for decision making and the things that we were trying to do, we wanted to be able to move at a pace that was going to be considerate of your mulling, but considerate of my need to do something and be about the business that I knew that I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And so, and here's the thing, she still moves too slow for me, and I still move too fast for her.
Yeah.
But for our marriage, we have a pace that is uncomfortable for both of us. And we like, okay, come on, let's move. Like today, I was telling her, even though
Oh my gosh.
we
He getting reared up again.
even though we just moved in here,
We
I'm
ain't
like,
even been here a year.
right. I'm like, okay, so, and we signed a 2-year, pretty much a 2-year lease here
Yeah.
because we're renting, so that we can just rest from the move and PTSD from the move and everything that we had.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so 2 years is a good enough time. Actually, it's more than enough time for me, but 2 years is a good enough time. And we were talking about extending the lease here, but I was like, I think we need to move after this lease is up to a place that will allow us to have a studio bigger than this space here, and allow people, because I produce podcasts for other people. And so right now there's a difficulty that we're having with finding a space to do the podcast. But I was like, if we had a big enough place that had a studio space for us, then we can have people come over, and we're not trying to have a bunch of people come over and be in our house like this, up in our living area like this. So I was telling her today, oh yeah, so I looked at a spot this week, and it didn't work out, but the lady emailed me and she said there's another spot that she has that I'm gonna go take a look at. I might go today or sometime this week or next week.
But in that, you said, because when we move in 2 years, I say, wait, what? We just got here.
Yes, we did just get here.
And then we talked about staying here for a
year.
little while.
We did say-
past the lease, maybe at least, a
we
year
did,
or two
we did
after.
talk about that.
Because
I didn't know it was a year or two after.
that's what was in my mind. All I know is I was, after going through what we just went through to move and downsize,
Right.
and all this PTSD that we have about moving, I don't feel like I'm gonna be ready to do some more of that in 2 years.
Right. That is true.
That's
I do
how I'm
believe
feeling
that.
right now. So every time you say, when we move in 2 years, Can we just chill out for a minute?
So
Those are my breaks.
I got it.
Okay, sorry.
So the reason why we had that conversation, and that was the conversation we had then. Now I'm seeing that there's a need for us to have a space for us to do studios and have people come over to have a studio and have people come over so we can record podcasts in that space. So it's either we find a studio, like a legit studio that we rent that's going to cost a lot of money, or we move into a space that has a studio space for us to create a studio that we do not have to buy or rent another studio, and we can stay there and for as long as we feel like it, which I don't know how long that's going to be.
Well, I mean, we were looking for a place like that to scale down, but it be what we were looking for to include the studio, but we just couldn't find it, which is why we not buying right now. We're just chilling out renting. So.
Right. So the time frame that I was thinking was like, okay, we'll stay here a little longer, but I find myself looking for a place for us to build a studio so that we can not only do this podcast, but do the other podcasts that I'm involved in.
Oh, so I better start my bowling now.
And see, this is what I do. I drop little nuggets.
He keeps saying
well in advance.
And I'm back.
Well in advance so that as I'm moving toward this goal,
I'm skating backwards.
This is not like a shock. She's still like, yeah.
I am. Yep, I am. Because all I can think about is what we did. Yeah. All I can think about is what we did 6 months ago. And we still scaling down.
Right. So I do think we need to scale down some more though.
I know, but in things, but in places, I mean, because we just left a big place, but we're scaling down.
Yeah.
But now you're saying we need a little bit bigger than this. But this was like a respite for us. We needed this. But we needed something a little bit more bigger to include the
studio.
Yeah, studio area, which is what we were looking for. But time frame we just couldn't find, and we just said,
and
chill
even
out.
I don't even mind this area. We can still stay in this area. It's just a matter
this area.
of getting a space that is appropriate for that. So those are our topics for the day for the Heath and Bernie Show. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. Do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe. And also, if you see a clip of this on Instagram or Facebook, please go back and watch the original video, because I put those out there so that you can see kind of what our content is like and what we talk about. And hopefully that drives you back to the main YouTube page. But when Instagram and Facebook see that you're leaving their platforms and going to YouTube, they're like, no one will see your content at all, because that's what's happening.
They are so tricky.
So if you could go check us out, and when you see these clips posted, please go back into YouTube and go to my page, Heath Wiggins, and check out the whole video if you have time.
And subscribe. You already said that, didn't you?
Yeah, like, subscribe, do all the things.
Yeah, all the things.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.